little snippet for you of our conversation. So, Pastor Omar, I want to ask you a question, kind of what we were talking about. What is really going on with black people with this COVID-19? The media is saying that we as blacks, Hebrews, are having a higher rate of dying than other races. So what is the haps?
Yes. We've been noticing that in regards to the rate of death, that black people are being disproportionately affected by COVID-19, aka the coronavirus. And if the numbers are true, it would mean that in a given area, say like Louisiana, we might have 32%, black people, black folk. But in some areas like New Orleans, we're being overrepresented in the rate of death, meaning that 70% of black folk are dying. And it's a problem because if we 30% of an area, then 30% of us should be dying of COVID-19. And so it means that more blacks are dying of COVID-19 than whites, if the numbers are accurate.
If the numbers are accurate. So tell me, how can we possibly be in this position? Like, why are we in this position?
Well, if the numbers are true, blacks would be in this position for a few different reasons. And all of those reasons are rooted in inequality, prejudice, racism. And it's kind of like a systemic problem. It's got one root, but it's got many heads. And so, for instance, in our neighborhoods, because of prejudice and racism, we have what's known as food deserts. We don't have grocery stores and restaurant chains that give healthy options for parents. And so our kids will eat foods that's high in sodium. Our kids will eat foods that are really high in sugar. And so because of food deserts, we're afflicted with different diseases like diabetes, high blood pressure, heart disease. And it has something to do with COVID-19 or coronavirus, because those are the diseases that if you get coronavirus, they make you susceptible to being overcome by the illness and dying.
Wow. Well, and then you also mentioned about, besides the food deserts and the underlying health issues that we already have, that when we go to the doctor, that we also experience some of the worst treatment. Can you tell me what you're talking about with that?
Yes. It's been statistically proven, the data has shown that when black people and white people go to the emergency room, they get two different kinds of treatment. For instance, I was watching an interview on CNN just the other day, and the black doctor was saying that he went in unawares. He went in, he kind of twisted his knee, and he went into an ER, and the doctor didn't know that he was a doctor. And so he said when he was sitting in the room, the doctor came in, didn't even look at him, didn't even engage him in any kind of conversation like a doctor would do. That's called a bedside manner a doctor should have. It's a professional way of treating your patient. And in that professionalism, and you engaging them in common conversation, you can really get to the root issue of what's ailing the person just through conversation. The doctor said that he didn't do any of that. He just kind of made him stand up, walk around, and told him that he was going to be okay and sent him out. At that moment, the black physician, the Hebrew physician, revealed that he was a doctor.
Wow.
And it was only after he revealed that he was a doctor, one of his own colleagues, then he began to give him the proper treatment, going through the proper protocols, the proper procedures to ensure that this sprained knee wasn't anything worse. And that's just one small example, but this is happening around the country. As black people go into emergency rooms, the pain is not taken as serious, the complaints are not regarded, and that's the reason we don't get the treatment that we should.
And you also mentioned not only we don't get the treatment, but a lot of blacks have been being turned around and not given tests.
Yes,
that's what they're saying.
Yes, and in relation to COVID-19, the way that looks, now we talked about it in terms of a sprained knee, but when you're having symptoms of COVID-19, this thing turns into a whole different animal, because you go to the doctor and they don't take you seriously. And if they don't take you seriously, or if they look at you from a racial perspective with racial lenses, we're finding that the data shows that nurses and doctors and people in triage, they're quicker to give the COVID-19 test to people of a different persuasion, other than the black, brown people of America. And so it's a real problem. And so we're seeing a disparity in the test that's given, but we also seen a disparity in a situation that's even worse than the test.
Okay, that is very good. Now, so we're seeing the disparity in that, but is there also an economic disparity, like a classism and a socioeconomic disparity?
There is. It's no secret that black folk, Hebrews, they don't carry health insurance as much as their white counterparts. And so from a business model perspective, the hospitals, might not be given a test, or for that matter, the ventilators, because there's evidence showing that, white folk get on ventilators before black folk. Black folk are being sent home, and white folk are getting put on ventilators. And the problem with that is the ventilators actually save lives. They kind of give the body a little time to recover, to deal with the pneumonia, the fluid in the lungs, and so it saves lives. But if black folk not getting on the ventilators, then we're kind of dying unnecessarily, which increases that rate of death due to COVID-19. But back to your question on the socioeconomic classism, ventilators and other medical treatments, they kind of cost money. And with that costing money, if you don't have insurance from a business perspective, the hospitals could be looking at it and say, we don't want to put them on a ventilator, we don't want to treat them because we won't get paid.
Wow.
And so that's the kind of situations that Hebrews, that black folk are running into.
Okay, now quickly, what is the answer? Like, how can we fix this with the death rate for our own people?
Okay.
What do you suggest?
Okay. Well, I guess it's gonna be like a bifurcated approach. I think on an individual level, black folk need to go ahead and operate in the blessings of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Get themselves, in a position to get their own insurance and not be waiting for somebody to insure them. That's the first thing. Go ahead and get it, man. Find your purpose. You got the blessings, man. Go ahead and make the money. Do your thing. Operate in your gifting. We have an open heaven. That way they can't refuse you to service you, because you have the assets to be able to pay for the service. And if you have the assets to pay for the service, then it becomes a different question. They can't hide behind the socioeconomic covering. You can obviously say, no, you're not treating me because I'm black.
That's right. That's right.
So that's one answer from the individual perspective. From the medical field perspective, I think that they need to start mandating these hospitals to keep data on who getting the vents and who getting the tests.
Okay.
And not just data based upon the people name, but go ahead and put the race.
Wow. Wow. Yeah.
The color of a person.
Yeah.
And that way we'll be able to go back in and say, you've been giving more tests to white folk than black folk. And we'll be able to show people, whether they being prejudiced or racist subconsciously, which could happen, or whether they're doing it purposely, we would have the data to be able to say, hey, look, y'all have a problem, and we got the numbers to show you. You're not giving black folk the test, and you're not putting them on vents like you're supposed to.
Yeah, that's very good. And you mentioned two basic things that we could do just individually, our food choices.
Yeah.
What are some of those? And tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so back to the individual model, really, black folk need to go ahead and do their best to eat right. I'm no way a legalist, and I don't promote the law. I'm a new covenant man. However, in the old covenant, Yah did put some stipulations on his people to show us what we should be eating and what we shouldn't be eating. And, black folk, we eating the pork, we eating the crawfish, the shrimp, We eating all the things that Yah said was unclean, and we suffering for it. And this COVID-19 only manifests our underlying health issues that we have for eating all the wrong things. And you would tell me, Pastor, I'm not under the law. I can eat anything I want. And I would say, I agree with you, brother. You can eat anything you want, but you're going to reap the rewards of eating it. And I'm just saying. And you say, Pastor, but the other races eat anything they want. They eating it. Exactly, my brother. You know, you wasn't made to eat that stuff. They was. And the reason why we suffering while eating it is because Yah is trying to show us, you know, you are people set apart for me, and I don't want you eating, you know, rodents and the trash keepers of the earth, because it's nothing but poison in their flesh and in their body, and they put that poison in your body, and now when you get sick, your body don't have what it needs to be able to fight that corona off. And so, from an individual perspective, we got to eat right.
Wow, so this is kind of like a wake-up call.
I think it is. I think it is. And it's a wake-up call for individual black businesses as well. You know, we can't wait for them to open up grocery stores in our neighborhood.
Come on, that's good.
We got to go ahead and make an oasis right in the middle of a desert. We got to go and open stores that provide healthy choices. And I'm putting out a call to all our business owners right now. Listen to me. Grocery stores in black neighborhoods gonna be sustainable. They gonna be a blessing. And so look for it. Look for it. First Lady got it on our heart, amen. As well is one of our future businesses that we want to do. Why? Because the people need healthy choices. They need to go in a grocery store that just don't sell pork chop and shrimp.
Wow. Okay. So just one last thing before we end. What is something basic? You mentioned just basic things that we could do, like masks and gloves, to prevent this death rate.
Yeah. The Hebrews need to go ahead and get with the program and submit to wearing the mask and the gloves. Go ahead and do it.
But what about if some people say, look, I don't like how it look?
Well, you cannot like how it look, but this is just a temporary evil that we're going to have to go through. You still got swag, you know, paint something on your mask, make it nice. You know, some of y'all got so much swag, you wear a mask, it'll go in style. Them young folks start wearing masks. And so we just do what we have to do for the moment. This too, it's going to pass, you know, but go ahead and wear a mask. And we got some believers saying, well, I have faith. You know, I don't want to wear a mask. Well, you have faith, but God gave us wisdom as well. And so go ahead, put the mask on, and have faith that God's not going to give it to you. You know what I'm saying? The wise man see a danger afar off, and he hide himself. And so wear masks, practice social distancing, wash your hands, do what we have to do. You know, we got some Hebrews that believe that this virus might be from another source. They talk about 5G and everything like that. I don't subscribe to that just yet. However, if you think it's that, you know, prove it. And if you can't prove it, you know, then go ahead and wear a mask to be safe. You know? And so that's the kind of things that we got to do. You know?
Yeah, that's about it, guys. Just wanted to just drop this video in for you guys, and just wanted to share our thoughts about it, and that's all I have.
Yeah, and here's the last thing. You know, we talked about, you know, some practical ways, but of course, spiritually, how can blacks, the Hebrews, avoid this high death rate? Get under the blood.
Thank you.
Get saved. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you're in this new covenant. Make sure you're covered by the Lamb of the Most High God, Yahshua HaMashiach. Get right with him. This is a wake-up call for us. And I'm praying that you answer the phone. Be blessed, Israel. Love you. Shalom.
Shalom.